In my own little corner, in my own little chair, I do whatever I want to do. Hello, 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 blessed spirits. How is everyone today? How are my fellow sensitive people? Let's make sure everything is the way it's supposed to be. I just want to check to make sure everything is as it should be. We've got a live going. Oh, yes. Goody, goody, as they say. Goody, goody. Well, welcome to brunch, all you gorgeous creatures. Welcome to brunch. Have a seat. Do tell. Do tell. Yes. Have a seat. We've got quite a bit to talk about, don't we? Yes, we do. And we are going to set up a second camera. Would you guys like that? That would be most agreeable. Would that be most agreeable? Yes. It's a lot of interesting questions I'm getting from various different persons. Various different persons, yes. So hopefully, to the best of my ability, we can answer those questions for you. It appears nobody knows what the fuck is going on. So that makes my job all the more enjoyable. Yes. All right. So tell us where you're coming from. Tell us where you are coming from. Introduce yourself to the brunch. My name is Whimsy, Dr. Whimsy Anderson. It is a pleasure to meet you. And shalom. Okay. Okay, just checking. Okay. Tell us what you're eating. Tell us what you're drinking. We're always curious to know. Why is that light over there coming all the way over here? Hold on a second, you guys. Push the backlight back a little bit. Push the backlight back. Go. Oh my goodness, I got so many interesting messages and comments because there's so much disinformation. So you kind of have to ask yourself, if there's all this disinformation going around, why is there so much disinformation going around, right? Cheers, everyone. L'chaim. All right, so a little bit about, tuna. That sounds delicious. Hollywood, California, and fasting today. Oh, for Ramadan. Some of you all fasting for Ramadan. We'll have an easy fast if you are. It's not easy. It's not easy to do. So, yeah, the water is the hardest part. I've done it a couple times when I've been with Muslim friends and just chosen to observe if I'm staying in their home during Ramadan. Oh, that first glass of water, particularly if Ramadan falls, when the weather is hot, it's really difficult. Yeah. Other people do Ramadan light. Have you heard about this Ramadan light? They'll have water for medical reasons. And then if you do Ramadan light, it's easier, right? Seniors, people pregnant women will do Ramadan light. Yes. a month to contemplate your actions and see if you can do better next time, right? Not so easy, not so easy. Well, let's go ahead and get started. I am drinking a mullein tea. Let me show it to you. I still have a cough. I had a norovirus. So this is a combination to clear my lungs from the norovirus. Uh, this is marshmallow, mullein are the two main herbs, marshmallow and mullein. And then I also have some elderberry flower as an antimicrobial. So it's just three herbs, marshmallow, mullein, and elderberry flower. And I have added carminatives as well. So the carminatives are anti-inflammatory and they help with the taste of this whatever you're drinking. So the carminative blend and ginger is put in here. A lot of ginger. So lemon juice, ginger, and honey. The carminative blend is cardamom. When we think about carminatives, they help ease digestion and they also help clear mucus in the lungs. So when we think about, you could have put some licorice in here, I didn't. But when you think about the carminatives, you're thinking cardamom, cinnamon, ginger, anise, and fennel. All of those help with digestion, chewing on fennel leaves, for example. So that is my tea. And this is the color you'll get when you do that combination with a little bit of honey and lemon, l'chaim, l'chaim. And as I drink it, I can literally feel it clearing all of the excess whatever, you know? Okay, so we are entering into the time of St. Patrick's Day, and it would appear that our floor director, give it up to Joel Tilson, our floor director. He is ready to go. He is prepping early for the auspicious. When does it happen? When is St. Patrick's Day? Is it the 17th? Oh, lobelia. Yeah, Joseph, I could have put some lobelia in. I didn't think about that. Thank you. The next time I do a blend, I'll add lobelia. I have over 300 herbs in my kitchen. You'd like to see it? Well, that would require me to switch cameras. Would you like to? You guys would seriously like to see it? Okay, I'll show it to you. I don't believe you. You don't have 300 herbs in your kitchen ready to heal people. Yes, I do. That's my office. Think about it. Na, told you so. When I was a little girl, I spent a lot of time in nature. studying plants and studying herbal medicine and how people used to heal. I was very attracted to Victorian healing and to at a very young age. And the book on Eden, what was that called? Back to Eden by Jethro Tull. Jethro, no, not Jethro Tull. Jethro Jose, what is it? Yeah, so getting back to nature, healing myself. You like that? Yeah. So each plant has a medicinal property. Let me show you some more plants while we get started here. Y'all want to see that? Let me show you this. I also grow the plants. This is an African dream plant. It is associated with remote viewing. So I bought some African dream plants and I began to grow them in my home. And then I have a nice, this looks like it's an arugula growing next to it. So I might, arugula seeds, they wind up probably going to ready to toss that in a salad. So this is an African dream plant. And I have been doing some remote viewing, but I've also been doing some astral travel where I wake up in my dreams and I wind up in like strange places, and I think just having the African dreams, I've got two of them. They'll go outside when the weather is warm enough and they'll probably take over my entire terrace, but that's okay. This is ayahuasca. It doesn't require. I killed my last ayahuasca because I gave it too much sun. A little bit of northern exposure is really all they need. And again, just being around the vibration of ayahuasca, meditating with ayahuasca, can in and of itself be rather spiritual. Would you agree? You don't need to actually drink it. And I tried ayahuasca one time. I went to one ceremony. Y'all done that yet? I was sick as a dog. Sick as a dog. It's funny because I'm such an arrogant person, like maybe I'll go and I'll get additional studies. I'll go to Peru and maybe I'll get some more shamanic training. And so I went there with all this, the anthropologist and researcher. And I puked for 8 hours. And it was almost like the plant was playing a practical joke on me. And one of the questions I asked in the ceremony to the plant was, should I get certified? Should I go through that certification program in Peru? And it was like she was laughing at me. Sure, you want more of this? Nope. If it's what you want, I'll beat the crap out of you some more if it's what you want. That was the one and only time I did ayahuasca. Never again. Never again. It's a purge plant. So you feel like you're sick as a dog and you're puking your guts out. Now, I think there's other ways to have a mystical experience. Other people say that they've done Aya and not had that experience, but that was my experience. Okay, so how many rumors have people heard today? How many rumors have people heard today? Rumors about the war, rumors about how the war is going, rumors about Netanyahu being dead. Oh, Israel is going down. It's going to happen any day now. Well, I'm sorry to tell you, but I have friends in Israel, and I'm just going to find it. I have friends in Jerusalem. I used to live in Jerusalem. I lived in Jerusalem for like 5.5 years. And I'm trying to find who had that. Netanyahu had posted. Let me see if I can find it. It might not be this one. I think it's towards the end. I know exactly where Netanyahu was too. He was at the train station. He was at the train station getting a cup of coffee, and people were asking him, "Are you dead?" And he's like, "No, I'm not dead. I'm just having," what did Netanyahu say? "I'm dying for a cup of coffee." That's what's going on over here, folks. So I don't see it now. Where is that? I think it's the last one I gave you guys, right? Didn't I give you the last post? It's always such a drag to find this crap. Yeah, so he is not dead. Oh, was it Fleischer who did that? I think it was Israel Fleischer. I can't find it. Oh, well, I was watching it, and people were having kind of a good laugh about it. I think what is really going on is that the new supreme leader, here it is. Okay. I don't know why I'm Israeli. I don't know why our politicians always have to go to the bus station, but anytime they're about to do anything that's important, they go to the bus station.
And also we're striking in Lebanon as well. You're telling me to keep going, and I'm indeed.
So hold on, let's see here. We'll go back to the original. I guess there was a rumor that I have friends in Jerusalem. I check on them on a regular basis. I used to live in Baca neighborhood, but I also lived in Neve Yaakov. And we did get a minor, there was a minor, the bombs aren't very good that are coming from that part of the world.
Putting this up as a BBC News. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps stated in a communique that it will continue to pursue the killing of Benjamin Netanyahu with full force. The statement adds that the uncertainty of the Israeli prime minister's fate and the possibility of him and his family being killed or fleeing the occupied territories are a sign that the Zionist crisis and turmoil. So that is what the Iranians have put up there, that the prime minister is potentially dead. In answer to that, the prime minister has released this very serious communique.
I'm not dead yet.
It's just a flesh wound.
You guys will be able to see we have a really large train and bus station area in Jerusalem. It's pretty kind of state of the art.
Let's see the serious communication.
Here we go.
מה שאלת אותי?
ראש הממשלה אומרים ברשת שאתה בכלל מת?
People are saying that you are actually dead, Prime Minister.
אני מת על קפה, אתה יודע?
He says, I'm actually dying for some coffee. I like, we say in Hebrew, like, אני מת על משהו,
I'm dying for a coffee, yeah.
Like I'm dying, like I or it's another way of saying I fully love something, which means like I'm dying for it, okay?
אני מת על העם שלי.
Not only that, but I love my nation. I'm dying for my nation.
איך הם מתנהגים, פנטסטי.
And how they behave, which is just awesome and fantastical, excellent.
אתה רוצה לספור את מספר אצבעות?
אתה יכול...
For some reason, I think that they were claiming that his fingers were chopped off or something like that. So he's just showing, he's like, do you want to count the fingers? So he shows 5 fingers there.
פה. פה. ראית? לחיים.
He says, cheers. He says, you see my finger?
And he whispers a little prayer, which is called the Shehekol Ni'bara. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Shehekol Ni'bara. He thanks God for the drink.
Fingers, cheers.
15 לאנשים.
He actually snuck in a little prayer there. I see it.
Yeah.
שיוצאים ומתאווררים.
לצאת להתאוורר.
He says the question was, should Israelis that have been in bomb shelters, should they go out and air out a little bit and walk the land a little bit, just get out and go to normal life?
אבל ליד מרחב מוגן.
So he says, absolutely go and air out, but be close to a shelter, a bomb shelter.
והעמידה שלכם היא מדהימה, נותנת כוח לי, לממשלה, לצה"ל, למוסד.
The civilian strength, right, has given me a strength, and it gives strength to the army, to the Mossad, to the security services, to all the various security services. Gives us strength, and you've given me strength. Your strong stance has given me strength, says the Prime Minister.
אנחנו עושים דברים שאני לא יכול לשתף ברגע זה, אבל עושים.
We're doing things that I can't talk about, all the different things that we're actually getting done, of course, at this moment.
דברים מכים באיראן חזק מאוד.
But we are striking at Iran very strong. Really, he means the Iranian leadership, very strong.
גם ביום הזה, גם בלבנון.
And also we're striking in Lebanon as well.
ממשיכים. אתם אומרים לי להמשיך?
You're telling me to keep going, and I'm indeed keeping going.
אני אומר לכולכם, גם אתם תמשיכו.
I'm saying to all of you, you too continue. So he's in some coffee shop, some cool coffee shop somewhere, and they're filming this, and he's like, you tell me.
I know where he's at, the coffee shop by the bus stations. He's probably on the 2nd or 3rd floor.
Me to continue, I'm telling you, you continue, I'll continue, we're going to keep continuing the fight.
תמשיכו להישמע להוראות פיקוד העורף, כל הזמן, להישמע להוראות פיקוד העורף.
But listen to the civilian command, the civil guard, in order to make sure that you're safe.
וגם לראשי הערים.
And also to the mayors of towns.
להיות תמיד ליד מרחב מוגן.
Be close to a shelter.
אנחנו נקל ככל שהדבר ניתן.
We will lessen the decrees.
The restrictions.
The restrictions, thank you, as much as possible. But
when it's right, when it's appropriate, right.
That's right.
ותודה לך על הקפה, הוא מצוין.
Thanks for the coffee.
לא יודע לגבי הקלוריה, זה נראה לי מסוכן מאוד.
He said, I don't know about the calories. That looks really dangerous. Okay.
Little pun.
All right. So no, Jerusalem is not up in flames. No, we are not getting bombed into the next generation. Yes, all of my friends are alive and well in Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, and beyond. And so just be aware that propaganda is out there from both sides, and always fact check. Always fact check. Okay, when is it the 17th, Joel? When is St. Patty's Day? Bizrat Hashem, we say in Hebrew. Bizrat Hashem. With the will of God, it shall be so. Yes. Peace for Palestinians and Jews. This is why when the election happens in May, we have to be pushing for unity. Right? We have to push for unity. Because, 17th, that's what I thought. Yeah. So I think that Netanyahu has been very divisive and antagonistic, and he's a conservative, he's a Republican. So I think it's time for him to go. And I think many Israelis agree. And I really strongly encourage, if you are watching from Israel out of Haifa, to get the word out that we need as many people pushing for unity to be voting when the elections happen. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and start getting through the questions. Again, give a warm welcome to the amazing Joel Tilson out of Wyoming, Cheyenne, Wyoming, who is prepping early for his delicious St. Patty's Day. Maybe I should go somewhere and have, do they have a vegan version of that? Oh, with tempeh, right? This doesn't sound very good. I wouldn't want to eat that. I've got to have a good vegan corned beef that tastes like corn. I hear that it's getting really close. Like some of the vegan meats are getting really, really close, like to the point where you can't tell the difference. It'd be great if they could put out something that looks and tastes and is high in protein. If it looks and tastes but has no protein in it, then that's kind of missing the point. You're going to wind up being protein deficient. So it'd be great if they would get one that has the same protein profile. You know, I know mushrooms are really good for texture. I like jackfruit, but jackfruit has no nutrition. You know, it has a little vitamin C, but it doesn't have any protein in it. So people love jackfruit, but it doesn't have any protein. Yeah. U.S. Marines are in the Strait of Hormuz. Yes, to reopen shipping today. Other question that's come up is, there's been some false information in the news that we are in a quagmire. The president didn't know what he was doing. Well, I believe that Donald Trump doesn't know what's happening. He has some general idea, but I don't have a lot of faith in Donald Trump's intellectual capacities. I'm sorry. We can go ahead again and show everybody the 5 phases. I try to show this as often as I can to people, and we're just taking a look, and we're seeing that everything is falling into place as the math. You know, this is mathematics. So if we're talking about the math, Israel and the United States had the math as early as 3 years ago. So embedding spies deep inside Iranian leadership, locating every target, precision strikes. It's now coming out that school has been closed in Tehran since the fights. So why would there be schoolgirls in a school when school's canceled? And what we do know is that they were hiding military meetings inside of schools. The IRGC was, in the hopes that they would not be struck. This is one of the tactics you do in order to protect your military, is you start having meetings in places that you think are off bounds, a mosque, a church, a school, etc. Places that, well, they're not going to bomb these locations because it's just, who would bomb a mosque? Who would bomb a school? And so students are out. School has been canceled until further notice. So the schools have been taken over by the IRGC for these meetings. And so when a school is bombed, if the school is being targeted, it's these precision strikes. How did the Americans and the Israelis know where all of these high-powered IRGC leaders were? Because they were tagging the bodyguards. The bodyguards were working with the Americans. The bodyguards were working with the Israelis. And they tagged their clothing. I can say this now. I talked about it privately with other remote viewers, but imagine you've got your dress, and you're floating around in this dress, and there's a tag on your dress that is linked back to the Mossad and the Israelis. So they know precisely where you're coming and going because you got a tag on your shirt. And so the other interesting thing is that if I am working for the vice president and I've got a tag, I've got a clip hidden inside my clothing and I'm just following behind, as the secretary, then that's sending location information to the Israelis and the Americans. And so that was how they were able to get precision strikes. They were able to just follow all the tagged people that had been working with the Americans and the Israelis. Pretty gosh darn cool. Pretty gosh darn cool. Now, there was another bit of disinformation that they didn't know that the Straits of Hormuz would be blocked. Yes, they had 3 years to plan for blocks from the Strait of Hormuz. And when that happens, you can release large amounts of oil and gas that are in emergency storage. We have enough to last us for the next 7 to 10 years and so in these types of events. And so one of the things that was prepped was to make sure that we had adequate supplies in the event of a situation like this. Will oil and gas prices go down? Probably yes, in the next 2 to 3 months. Do I think the IRGC is going to be taken out? Yes, I think the next 3 to 4 weeks, the Americans and the Israelis will do more precision strikes, and they're also using bunker bombs so that if they're in bunkers, they boom, 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 they'll go down multiple layers and then explode 60 feet underground. This is how they took out the head of Hezbollah in Lebanon. It went all the way down to, the deepest bunker, and then it explodes. And this was, of course, the end of the head of Hezbollah. So precision strikes to minimize civilian casualties. The problem is that if you are using humans as shields and you are trapping people inside certain neighborhoods or areas, preventing them to evacuate in order to protect your military and military equipment, at that point it becomes a little dicey. If you're going back to the original math would say that this is preferable to the alternative, in the sense that the alternative would be much higher casualties. So will people die? Yes. Are people dying? Yes. But when you look at the calculations for preventing much larger wars, if, for example, you decide not to try and do a deal with Iran, but Iran is funding Hezbollah in the north, which is, blowing up 350 U.S. service people in the 1980s, which is why we got the hell out of Lebanon and gave a bunch of weapons to the Israelis and said, you go in, we want out, right? That was what happened in the 80s when hundreds of U.S. service people got blown up by Hezbollah. What's happening for the actual secular person living in Beirut who has these lunatics coming into their country, which used to be a Christian country, and now they're driving the Christians out of their own home. What's starting to happen is that a lot of people in Beirut, secularist Christians, etc., are like, thank God these lunatics are being driven out. The other thing that's happening is that the money won't be there. And because the money is not going to be there to fund the terrorism, it's better than taking pot shots at Yemen, for example, when we had our drone wars under Obama, trying to get along with Iran, but Iran kept fueling the horrors. So children dying in Yemen and airstrikes, women dying under the Taliban in Afghanistan, which was also being armed and supported by the Iranians, marching and pounding at the door of Pakistan, infiltrating high-ranking members of the Pakistani military in order to see to the takedown of Pakistan and access to their nuclear weapons, which of course will then be pointed at our ally, the Indians, and it's goodbye Kashmir, right? So it became very obvious to the researchers that the only way you were going to get to peace is if you removed the cause of the fire in the Middle East. Who's funding the Taliban? Who's funding the Houthi rebels? Who's funding Hamas terror groups? Who's funding Hezbollah in the north? Who is funding terrorists and fighters in Iraq that are kidnapping and raping Yazidi women and taking them as sex slaves? And so when you remove the cause and when you remove the opportunity to fund those terrorist groups, at that point, the risk for nuclear weapons getting in the hands of terrorists, the end of sex slaves in Iraq, because ISIS and other terrorist groups will no longer get funding from Iran and other sympathizers, etc. And that goes also for Qatar. There are high-ranking people in Qatar that are, which is a shame because they have Al Jazeera, right, which is sympathetic to Iranian terrorism, terror via proxy, etc. And that is why many people have boycott Al Jazeera. All right, we talked also about the fact that the purpose of the war was to stabilize the area, remove the cause of who was the main sponsor, state sponsor of terrorism, Iran, to some extent Qatar, and that by removing the cause, we would be able to see, we would be cutting off funding to those groups. And we would also be able to build a new Gaza with safe zones for people that want to live in peace. And that area was known as the Anderson Oasis 1 Protocol. The Anderson Oasis 1 Protocol. And the idea was to build 6 safe zones on the border of Israel and to allow people that wanted to escape this horror, to women and children predominantly, to enter into these safe zones and build a new economy free of Iranian terror for people that want education for their children and want to live the good life. And when you do that, after 1 to 2 generations, terrorism collapses because it can't compete with the good life. That is the Anderson Oasis Protocol. So this was the original map that was drawn up on the Anderson Oasis Protocol in December of 2023. This is what they did with it. You can see that the majority of funding is coming from the United States and Elon Musk for that new trade route, which is on the perimeter of the new Gaza, so that inside Gaza, if Hamas takes over, we want to we want to lure them out. Go enjoy your life in Algeria, right? But if you want to leave Gaza, you should be able to leave. And if you want to stay in a safe part of Gaza, you should be able to do that as well. And it's difficult when you've got terrorists that are holding people hostage, selling off children to fund the war, etc. And so the number one priority, of course, is to try and get as many innocent civilians to safety as possible and to build a new economy that is competing with the horrors and the terrors of Hamas. And the problem with Hamas was that they were given billions and billions and billions of dollars to terrorize the people of Gaza, build, deep underground, 60 meters underground, and try to build tunnels for the purpose of destroying Israel and destroying all of the great infrastructure of Gaza in the process. So by creating a place next to Gaza where people can go and be safe, and by cutting off the funding that's going into Gaza, theoretically, again, you would bankrupt terrorism and you'd be able to give people in Gaza a great life because the money, the jobs, the education, etc., is going to be in the new Gaza. And so you don't have to kill everybody and have it be a constant war. Yes, you have to remove the cause, Iran, but you also have to give people the good life. And by giving people the good life, that in and of itself is the answer to diminishing risk for terrorism, because terrorism is what happens when people are desperate, when they have nothing to live for, right? So we give you something to live for. That is the Anderson Oasis 1 Protocol. Of course, we have to make sure that the powers that be that are funding it are held accountable and not creating a terrible life for the people of Gaza. And that's why you want to make sure that the international community is involved in this rebuild in order to control for that. You want to make sure that Europe is involved. You want to make sure that the Abraham Accords, that everybody is working together, and that the number one priority is to give people the good life. If you do that, you don't have a terrorism problem. You don't have a terrorism problem because people are happy, content, and they have their land, they have their children, they're given the respect and dignity that they deserve. Okay, awesome possum. Let's go ahead and do the empath prayer. Then we will give you a general reading. I've got everything set up. Sure is great to see everybody here. Maybe we should turn around and say hi to people. We've, of course, said hi to beautiful Joel. Elisa is in the house. Deborah, hello, shalom. We've got a couple different Deborahs here. Yeah, lovely, lovely. Deborah Granger and Deborah Murphy. And we have Annie's Gifts, always a pleasure. Diazines, oh, hello. And the beautiful, beautiful Colleen. What a gorgeous soul she is. Great to see her here. And the amazing Melissa is in the house, all the way from New Zealand, coming to us live. Very nice. Oh, where's Shedam? She don't wear a dress. Okay. Hello, Aline Levine from Philadelphia. Boy, how's the weather in your part of the world? All right, let's do the empath prayer. Let's bring in the empath prayer. If anyone would like to receive a healing at this time, we can collectively come together and pray for you. I believe in the power of prayer and collective good energy. So if you would like to receive a healing at this time, or you have someone you love and care about that you would like us to pray for, please give us your name or the name of the person that you want us to pray for, and we will include them in our prayers as we bring in the empath's prayer. Great to see you all. Let's do it. Let me take a glass of water first. Clear my throat. Okay. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself in this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys, to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively as a community, we say Amen. And for those of you today who are requesting a healing, we come together at this time and we pray. We pray that you and those you love receive a perfect healing in mind, body, and in spirit. And together again collectively, we say Amen, Amen, Amen. May all souls be healed. May all souls be healed. That's some good energy we got going on there. That was very nice. Yeah, I like that. Like that. Gotta get my mullein tea. I always feel a good vibe when I give that prayer. All right, this is your collective reading. And it applies to you at the time you've seen it. It is a smorgasbord of ideas that we share with you today. Message from Spirit. If it doesn't apply to you, just pass it down and give it to the next person. Ooh, Tacoma. There's a good barbecue, according to Joel. That sounds good to me. right, let's do it. What is the future hold? This is the next week or so. It's a collective reading. Again, if it doesn't apply to you, just pass it down and take what you need and leave the rest. So not everybody likes okra, right? Okra's a acquired taste, right? Other people love fried okra. Some people love catfish. Other people don't. All right. There are things that are going on in the world that are energetic or spiritual in nature that the average person doesn't understand. There are things going on in the universe that are spiritual in nature that most people don't understand. We talk about the Queen of Wands being, excuse me. We talk about the Queen of Wands being a very strong card. When we think about it, it is in a way associated with female justice, right? When we seek justice, that strong energy of the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands is because it's a wand and it falls under the energy of wands, we think about the wood element and we think about the fire element, right? We think about the wood element and we think about the fire element. Put that finger here to help with focus. And we also think about space and time, right? So if you're learning the tarot from me, I teach the wands as space and time. We know that that trees grow, that they are alive, that they change, they live, they die. A tree is trapped in time, just as you and I are, right? So she is the timekeeper, right? So the Queen of Wands holds on to time. Her time is the spring, so she is in Aries. March 20th, 21st, depending. It's right around the time you go into Aries. I'm March 22nd, so I have a really strong Pisces aspect, and I'm Pisces in the Vedic chart because I'm all about the Vedas, right? As far as an archetype is concerned, when we think about this archetype, the closest to it is an ancient deity that we see worshipped in Nigeria. Probably begins to be worshipped sometime around 8,000 years ago. And we know that this energy is not only associated with, the Yoruba people. We think about the Yoruba people of Nigeria. But in addition to that, we also think about what she symbolizes. So what do we know about the goddess Oshun? We know that the goddess Oshun is associated with strong female energy, right? We know that she's associated with strong female energy. We know she is associated with fertility and the feminine divine and the fresh waters. African Yoruba goddess, there she is. This is the earliest depiction we have of this archetype, the girl in the yellow dress. Yellow like the honey, right? Fresh water, fertility, compassionate, sensuous nature, and her water element energy encourages healing, mothering, harmony, and going with the flow. So this would be an image of Oshun. We have very old images we can find of this goddess going back thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So she is depicted in the Queen of Wands, right? Very beautiful, the Queen of Wands. She was also considered the patron of courtesans. She was associated with the courtesans of New Orleans, right? Oshun's house, right? Oshun's house was often a place where men would come to be entertained by beautiful women, right? The mulatto and the octoroon, right? That idea of these women that were often kept by wealthy white men in New Orleans society, right? Also associated with the goddess Oshun. Here she is being worshipped. So why do we see this imagery coming up over and over and over again at this time? We know in the Chinese calendar that we are in the time of the fire horse. We've talked a lot about that, and this will go until I think February 17th of next year, give or take. She has a dark aspect. I don't know if I would call it a dark aspect, but she has an aspect where she can turn on you. She's highly sensitive. She likes respect. She won't tolerate disrespect. She embodies the attributes of what it is to be a woman. The best, that part of us that is feminine, fertility, sexuality, sensuality, pampering, going to the beauty spa with our girlfriends and getting pedicures, right? Respecting yourself, respecting how you look, put a little makeup on, take time to groom yourself, all of that so that you can be sexy and feel good about yourself. All of that, respect of women's energy, all of that is what we see with the Queen of Wands. She's associated also loosely with Lakshmi out of India. She brings abundance and wealth. You treat her right, she's going to treat you right. You respect women, you're going to be rich. You disrespect women, you will be poor. This is the same thing we see with Lakshmi. She brings the coin, right? And we now have a time, the fire horse and the time of Oshun has come as well. So we have two archetypes or two ideas coming at the same exact time. This idea of the fire horse, which brings justice, truth, and purification. But at the same exact time, we also have the energy of Oshun coming to the earth at this time. The vengeance of Oshun coming to the earth at this time. She will curse people that do not care for children. She will curse people who do not respect women as people. She will, if you force women into marriage when they don't want to, forced arranged marriages, human trafficking, sex trafficking, exploitation of women and children. This is the time when those governments that oppress women are going to collapse. And that includes political parties. So she will get to anybody who doesn't treat women right, doesn't give women adequate health care, doesn't make sure that all women are in a safe place when they're giving birth, right? Getting the support that they need. If you're a political party that is cutting funding, taking away a woman's right to choose, etc., there will be consequences for the things that you have done. She's going after the big guns first. She's knocking out Iran. She's knocking out Afghanistan. She's knocking out anybody. Well, she'll kill them. I mean, she can be quite vengeful. If you don't treat women right, if you don't treat children right, if you're engaged in human trafficking, she's coming for you, and she's coming for you this year. If you're involved in the Epstein scandal, you're probably finished this year. She's going to get to you eventually. anybody that has harmed women and children, this is the year that you will pay for the things that you have done. Today is the day of the reckoning. This is the time of the reckoning. And this is why Oshun comes to us at this time. Her reign is about 2,000 years. Her energy began to move over the earth sometime around the Renaissance. We were prior to that in the time of Ogun. We've talked about Ogun. Ogun is the spirit of metal and also part of the Iron Age, right? So he is a warrior, Ogun. He fights, he kills, he conquers, he forges metal. And it served a purpose because we were able to make huge technical advances because of Ogun, because of the spirit of Ogun. Ogun gave the world great things, right? I like my blender, right? I like my modern living, which comes from forging metal, right? So we like Ogun, but the problem is that Ogun also is a warrior. So there was a lot of killing, there was a lot of violence as he started forging metal, using it to make weapons, taking over space, etc. It was a mucho macho man. And when we look at people who embody this energy, we all embody different aspects of the Orisha, but some of us, a particular Orisha will rule your head, right? We say that Orisha or that spirit is ruling your head. It's over you. He's the Iron Man. He's typified by people like Elon Musk, the Iron Man. Sexist, taking over space, almost psychopathic. Some would say psychopathic energy. And it reaches its peak around the time of the Middle Ages, destroying literature, burning books, building tanks, guns, weapons, swords. We're moving away from that energy as we move towards the time of Oshun. And this is the reign of women, which goes on for the next couple thousand years. So we are entering that, which means that we will see a clearing out of anyone that harms women. If you don't understand this, if you don't understand what's happening metaphysically, if you think that you're in control and doing whatever you want to women and children, and I am going to do what I like, this is going to be a bad year for you. This type of aggressive type A personality is very vulnerable to heart disease, narrow thinking, narrow arteries, eat my pork sandwich, right? My woman. This type of person is often vulnerable to a heart attack. And in fact, that is what we see with this fire energy, because fire is associated in Chinese medicine also with the cardiac system. Right? So we think about fire, we think about the organs of the heart and the small intestines. So what's going to be vulnerable if you are of this nature? Your digestion and your heart. Also your lungs. There's a relationship between the lungs and the heart, because the lung is like when they invented the Scottish bagpipe, it was supposed to be a lung. And it pumps, right? The air pumps the bagpipe. It's this relationship between the heart and the lungs, right? It's very likely that we could also see cardiac events in this population. A lot of cardiac events this year. The abusive husband that was smacking around his wife for 40 years and then keels over and dies, right? So sorry, but that's just the energy that we're going to be seeing, is that fire coming in and taking out anybody that Oshun is fighting back, and she's riding that fire horse. That's reality. Now, the good news is this: when you oppress half your population or more than half your population, it doesn't go well for you financially. It doesn't go well for the economy and the GDP of the country that you are trying to run. And this was what Saudi Arabia learned the hard way. They were oppressing over 50% of their population, and they couldn't figure out why they were having financial problems. Because giving women equality and letting them be best, right? Letting them go off and get that PhD is going to be good for the economy of the nation. So liberating women is good for the GDP. Treating women like people is good for the GDP. And it's interesting that we see this release of money. Ace of Pentacles moving into the Karma card. That's Lakshmi's energy, right? You treat me right. You'll treat me right. No, oh, that's an Oshun. They say Oshun says, no money, no honey, right? She got the honey, right? Okay, so let's now take a look at how she pairs with Lakshmi, because Lakshmi's energy is also coming in for us. What do we know about Lakshmi? Fortune, power, beauty, auspicious, the consort of Vishnu. She comes and gives you the good dreams, right? She giving you the good dreams, right? Some would say happy time dreams, right? As Borat would say, happy time, right? So that is, whoops. Let me see if I can get you guys a nice image of the beautiful Lakshmi. So Lakshmi's energy also we see moving in, and that can only be a good thing. Here's an image of Lakshmi, the goddess who brings wealth, the transformation to Lakshmi. Look at all those beautiful coins. Treat me right. Treat me right. Right? Dun, 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 dun. Treat me right. Right. So Lakshmi is the reward when you treat me right. Give me happy time. Treat women like people. And if you do that, if you treat women like people, you're going to be okay financially, because women are a blessing to society, and educated women are a blessing to society. And so the message of Lakshmi is, be kind to me. Be kind to me. Be kind to yourself, but be kind to women. And I will take very good care of you if you do that. You can see she has many hands, and each hand is there to teach you something. One hand is staying of boundaries. She puts one hand up and says, you know what? Being a loving person also requires some boundaries. So the hand comes up, boundaries. One hand is boundaries, and one hand is giving. She gives, but she also establishes boundary. And the two lotus establish the balance between the two. Can you all see that? So balance is when we find the balance between giving and establishing boundaries. This is the balance of what it is to be a healthy woman, the healthy feminine divine. You don't want to let any energy run amok, masculine or feminine. You want balance, typified by the two hands raising the pink lotus, that balance between giving and boundaries, right? So we are entering into a time, despite everything that we're going through, that is quite auspicious. And when this nightmare ends, I believe the majority of it will end probably in the next 6 to 8 months. We will see an explosion in the U.S. economy and the economy throughout the world, the blessings of Lakshmi. But right now, we are in the Queen of Wands is leading a war. She's on the horse and she has declared war because the oppression of women has gotten out of control. So what's going to happen to people that don't treat women right? What's going to happen to Elon Musk? What's going to happen to Donald Trump? Donald Trump is hoping that by freeing the women of Iran, he's not going to go to hell. God's going to forgive him for all the terrible, horrible things he did with Jeffrey Epstein. Is that where his mind is going? You know, from a Buddhist perspective, how long will he reign in hell? Right? This is, you know, if you really want to get deep down and dirty, right? Looking at the Lotus Sutra, how long will he be forced to the bowels of hell before somebody pulls him out of there and says, you know, go to the light, right? Will this action reduce the amount of time he spends in Gehenna, hell, Gehenna in Hebrew? But I'm going to go ahead and predict that over the next 8 months, we will have a clearing out with the energy of Oshun, and then we will start the rebuild of the Middle East. I think that we will see the Queen Palvi's daughter will reign. I think it will be a constitutional democracy. I think that it's a good thing that she reigned because she is typified by the goddess Oshun. The daughter of Palvi, right? So we have Prince Palvi, and we have his daughter who's a feminist. And this idea that it's not her time, it's not his time, it's her time. And that he will probably not be the one that reigns. The one that reigns will be his daughter. And it will be his daughter that will rule. Right? So let me see if I can get some images of his daughter. Gorgeous children, by the way. He should be very, very proud of himself that he has such beautiful children. What's interesting also about the prince's daughter, the future queen of Iran, is that it goes back to that feminine divine balance that we've talked about, which is part of the messaging of Oshun, that women should be treated well, and the reign of the queen. Right? So that is probably, yeah, she's very feminine. She's clearly a daughter of Oshun. And these forces are happening, but the average person doesn't understand them. On the left, she's the one on the left. She will probably reign for many years. The future Iran, which will be a constitutional monarchy. He will step down, and it will be a female reign, because she's a daughter of Oshun, and this is Oshun's time. She's just a beautiful girl, highly educated, feminist, very concerned about the welfare of her people. She will reign well. She will reign well. She will unite the people, and it will be good. Because she has what it takes, right? She has what it takes. So while he may come in and establish, I don't think he's going to stick around. I think she will reign. And I think that this is another reason why we're seeing she's the Queen of Wands, 100%. I think her husband's Jewish too, if I'm not mistaken. So that will be interesting that she reigns, and the new prince or her consort is a nice Jewish boy, I think, which is kind of cool. And that kind of also hails in the new Iran, which is interfaith and tolerant. So we're seeing two things for your future and for everybody else: strong female leadership, and we're seeing a release of money, new economic improvements happening globally over the next 8 months. Because with the liberation of women, it will only be good for the economy globally. And that goes also for China. If China is oppressing 50% of their population, forcing them to be sterilized or, preventing them from having autonomy over their own uterus, that too is going to have an impact on China's economy. And when they gave up trying to control women's bodies, that is when we saw China open up and start giving women equality. We started seeing improvements in the economy of China. Okay. We will get our wish. Your wish, whatever it is you desired, has been granted. Let us see what the problem is, though, with your wish. Let's see what the crossing issue is. 9 of Pentacles is also a Lakshmi's card. Here it is again. The woman who sits with the coin, this is Lakshmi. You are going to be just fine. This clearing of the oppressor has to happen. I think the Democrats are going to win. I think that the Democrats are going to take the House and Senate. I think that this phase was necessary. I think it's part of the energy of Ovoshun and the fire horse. I think the Democrats will take the House and Senate. And I think with strong female leadership, we will build a free Iran and a free Middle East and a free United States. And we've got to get control of the Supreme Court. But these cards tell me that female power and financial wealth are the future. And I'm just absolutely thrilled to see that. This is also part of the desperate changes that are happening in Saudi Arabia, where they've started opening up Saudi Arabia to tourism, to women's rights, etc., because they finally figured out that when they oppress and treat half their population like crap, that they're not going to go anywhere economically. Lakshmi. Be like Lakshmi. Know your worth. You will be paid what you are worth when you know your worth. Do not hang your head in shame. You know, you're carrying shame that doesn't belong to you. Let it go. What is above you? Psychic phenomenon. This is a time of pay attention to your dreams right now. Pay attention to your dreams. Pay attention to any kind of psychic information, because the moon stands in the 4th house. So you're channeling. Moon can be lunacy if the cards around it are negative, but we're not seeing that. We're seeing this beautiful feminine divine energy of power and wealth coming to the planet. This is actually going to be a wealthy time. We're coming in 8 months. What we're sitting in is the Sword of Victory, Ace of Swords. Building that future, that 1 year. You're coming out of justice. You may have found yourself in a situation in the past where you had to terminate a lot of relationships. If somebody's making you feel ashamed of yourself, if somebody's being abusive, if you're hanging your head in shame like some piece of trash, that person is toxic to you and you need to terminate the relationship. Justice comes in. It's often courts, divorce, endings, I'm out. And instead, you're focusing on this beautiful empowerment energy that's coming in. Who's having pasta? I'm smelling cheese and pasta. Who's having pasta? I can smell it. I always smell your guys' food every time I do these readings, and I'm trying to connect to everybody's vibe as I'm channeling. And then I start to smell your food. I'm not smelling the Joel's. I'm smelling someone's. It smells like Parmesan to me. Is that like an Alfredo or something else? Who's eating pasta? Okay, and then coming into the Knight of Cups. So we emerged to become the water horse, a Knight of Cups, which is peace. We'll get to peace probably in the next 8 months to a year. It's interesting cards. Where you're at right now, rest and take care of yourself. The 4 of Swords is there. Usually comes in to encourage meditation, self-reflection. I've been sleeping a lot, getting over this bug. Oh my God, it's the worst. So just make sure you're taking care of yourself. Rest and meditation are auspicious to you at this time. Your conflict, you don't like to see your house of conflict is conflict. You don't like to, it's not good for you to be around fighting. It's not good for you to watch fights. Be at peace, be a source of peace. Take care of yourself and avoid conflict. Your hopes and fears at this time, rapid changes happening in the world that you don't entirely understand. Focus on embodying the goddess within you. Know your worth. Be disciplined in your actions. And in the next several months, you will gain a great fortune and success. That is your reading, because 8 of Wands is a rapid change, but it's also the month of August. Most readers will read it as the time of August. So we're now in March, April, May, June, July, August. We're talking about a 5-month period of just really focusing on what you want to focus on, and it will go well for you. Respect yourself. Emotional stress comes as the leading challenge in terms of health for most people. 9 of Swords can be pain in the head, migraines, stress and anxiety that keeps you up at night, spending too much time looking at all the stuff that's going on globally, being addicted to cable news, etc. Get out and walk. Go see some. I'm going to go out and see the sun. Take care of yourself. Money. Those of you who are seeking a job will have a job very soon. Page of Pentacles. Again, the coins. You can see Lakshmi's energy coming in, clearing all this toxic sexist shit, right? I'm sorry. But the men who are on top right now that didn't treat women well are finished, man. This is a new vibration, man. I don't think Murdoch better take care of his health. Rupert Murdoch. Heart disease is a big challenge this year. Elon Musk, Rupert Murdoch, Donald Trump, right? Netanyahu's probably going to go this year. He's probably going to lose in the next election, right? So a lot of changes and a lot of clear air. It's like the air clears. And new jobs, new economy, building new. It's all this work. The new Gaza, the new Ukraine with the Anderson Oasis Protocol, the new, which was part of the 20-point plan, building oasis zones all over the world, bringing in female intellectuals. I mean, like it's just a new day. It's a new dawn. And it's this fresh air that starts to happen over the next few months. The House of Opposition, you guys are really getting warnings about your relationships, your partnerships that are toxic or fighting or conflict. Do not hang around with people that don't believe in you. If they don't believe in you, avoid them like the plague. There's such a thing as healthy criticism. If somebody says you got to go back and do a rewrite on that book. Don't just be around kiss asses that tell you what you want to hear. You want healthy criticism, but you also want to avoid abusive persons. Is this constructive to me, or do I just feel like crap when this person's around? That's what you have to ask yourself. The hope and fear at this time, the Sword of Truth, Archangel Michael. Am I doing this right? Did I screw up? Maybe they're right. Maybe I don't know. Like it's almost as if, and also with the moon energy, like what the hell am I? I think I'm on the right path. Trust yourself. Trust your gut. Final outcome for you is, there it is again, Lakshmi, the woman of the coin. You will be respected, right? You will respect yourself. You will carry yourself with dignity. You will be about your business, child. You will collect the coin. You will not be around people who are toxic to you or abusive to you. It is vexatious to the spirit, right? We're going to be okay. I think we're going to pull out of the economic problems within 8 months. I think that the IRGC is probably going to fall during that time. And I think that we're going to see a new day, a new dawn, fresh air, and an end to all this psychopathy. And that includes the psychopathy here in the United States as we return back to balance. And look at this. No, I'm sorry. I love y'all men when you're good people. I love Joel, right? We love good men. But this card reading shows no male power in the future. It's there's no male energy here. It's just women and money and wealth. It's about women getting their power and bringing wealth and blessings to the countries that treat them right. That is the future of the world. That is your future. Be about your business, child. Those of you who are looking for work should be getting work in the near future. Stay away from toxic people. It depresses you and it impacts your job interviews. It impacts how you eat, you sleep, you rest. If it is not constructive, if you can get away from it, do so as soon as possible. That is your reading. Hope it gave you some clarity. Yeah, could you believe all that Lakshmi energy that came in? And ooh, Queen of Wands is the base. She is pissed off. You're going to be fine. If I was to channel Oshun, I'd be on my horse, and I'm going to come get you for hurting my child. I'll get to you guys in a minute. You're going to be fine. You're going to be okay financially. It's going to be a beautiful world. I just got something right now I need to take care of. I'm going to take care of you, and anybody else who molested my children, hurt my children. I'm going to kill y'all. I'm going to take y'all out. But I'll get back to you guys. Just give me a second. Y'all going to get blessings if you treat women right. You're all going to have jobs. You're all going to be okay. Democrats are going to win. Oppressive men are, I'm taking one by one, every single oppressive man is going to be removed this year. Yeah, learn to treat women like people, and then this wouldn't have happened to you. That would be the message. That would be the message of Oshun. There you go. Yeah, no male energy. What is that story? What is that line from Color Purple where she winds up with a nice guy and Harpo says, "What are you doing?" And he says, "My job as a man is to take her wherever she wants to go." She wants to go to the Senate. My job is to support that. That's a man. I take my lady wherever she wants to go. Well, Harpo didn't like that at all, right? In Color Purple, he had to humble himself. Please come home. I'm sorry, right? He learned to be a good man, or he wasn't going to get his wife back, right? Will the nations join Iran's Islamic Republic forces? Let's take a look. We're going to blitz away when I get the order. If you guys could like, share, and subscribe, it would mean a lot to me. Please, I apologize for the cough. It's almost gone. No, it's not my cat. I had the flu. I'm drinking tea. Sucks to be sick. It takes weeks. How long did other people have had it too? How long did it take before you got rid of your cough? It takes a while. I caught it going over at Portland State University. I didn't know that they had an epidemic, that they were saying it's everybody on campus has it. I just went to mail some stuff and I had something to eat. Big mistake. And I've been sick ever since. What can you do? All right, did we get the order to blitz away? Well, I don't have to blitz away. I can just hang out with all you beautiful people, right? Oh my gosh. All right, let's take a look. No, they don't have the economic wherewithal. Putin's probably going to take the Oasis deal because it's an opportunity for him to get into the Abraham Accords. I sent my note to Jonathan Conricus and to be sent off to the IDF and also to the powers that be to pressure Putin to take the deal. So just incorporate the Anderson Oasis 1 protocol in the Donbass would probably put an end to the war pretty quickly. But we're not seeing anybody coming in and helping. In fact, quite the opposite. Well, there goes Iran. I guess we're going to have to make a deal with the new Iran under the Abraham Accords. Well, maybe I can get in. You can, Russia. You can get into the Abraham Accords. You just have to take that deal in the Donbass and build Oasis 1 and merge it with the rest of the Abraham Accords. And at that point, you're in. You're going to be making more money than just Ukraine, baby. So take the deal. You get to have all that resource through the Abraham Accords. So no, they're not helping. In fact, they probably are just going to sit back and passively let this happen because they got a deal in their back pocket. They're looking at the 20-point plan in that Oasis zone in the Donbass that Zelensky wants to do. And they're thinking, you know what, this might actually be better for me. I think we're just going to sit back and let nature take its course, right? So the House of Opposition, a new build, a new beginning. The hope and the fear for Iran at this time, a refusal to change or rigidity. And the final outcome is a new beginning. The spring hails a new beginning in Iran. So no, nobody's coming to help them. They were a menace. Most people think that they were a menace, and most people feel like good riddance. You know, it's like, well, he is in an ICU. The new supreme leader is in an ICU. He's lost a couple legs and an arm and everything else, which is why they're saying Netanyahu, it's complete projection. No, the bomb strike that took out his dad almost took him out, and now he's in an ICU, which is why they're running around with a cardboard image of him. Earliest reports are that he's still alive, but he's in critical condition. So he's not doing. I think he's probably a vegetable. What a horrible life! You've been struck. You've lost your legs, your arm, and everything else. You're in an ICU. They're running around with a cardboard copy of you saying you're the new leader, and you're in some ICU under 60 feet underground. That can't be good, right? That's not a good way to live. Well, eventually, if they want to, they'll locate him, and they'll take a bunker buster and take him out. That's probably what's going to happen. Total internet and mobile. This is making me think phase 4. You know, are we looking at phase 4? I think it's entirely possible, because the concern when you're looking at the data was that Putin would have to be removed, or you would have a real hard time dismantling Iranian leadership if you didn't also just take out Putin, because Putin is propping up Hamas, propping up Iranian leadership, et cetera, et cetera. So Putin is also the troublemaker that has to be removed. Let's take a look at Putin, and he's for sure 100%. He knows about phase 4. All intelligence agencies have the 5 phases now. It's not just 5 phases is a fact. It's not up. These are the facts. This is just the data. The data is the data. So it's not. It's just the math, right? So everybody has the math, right? You want the Abraham Accords. You want peace in the Middle East. This is the math. If you know that that's the math and you're at Putin, you're probably scared as hell when you see them beginning phase 5. They're beginning phase 5. It hasn't happened yet, but they're starting to dismantle Iranian leadership, right? So that tells me, and that tells all of you, right? Because you're educated people. You now know more than 99.9% of the general public, right? Because you have access to private emails and, right? So I would think Putin would be pretty damn scared, right? So this paranoia that's happening where there's blackouts and nobody can come near me and I'm going to purge and kill everybody. Well, you can imagine how freaking terrified Putin is that we're already beginning. We've 1, 2, and 3, and 4 were adopted by Biden. We've already gotten to 1, 2, 3, and we're starting to see 5 happening. So damn straight, Putin is scared out of his bejeebies. Oh my God. What is going to happen here? I think I'd be scared out of my. If I were him, I would be like, I'll take the Oasis protocol in Donbass, no problem. Right? I'd be making deals, and then I'd retire. I would retire with high security, and I would spend the rest of my life being a peacenik, trying to make sure the Abraham Accords survive, and then maybe they won't kill me. But even that's not a guarantee, because there are people very angry about October 7th that think he was 100% behind it, and they want him dead. There are people in the Mossad that know exactly where he is, and they want him gone. And it's a huge debate. Should we kill him? If we kill him. When those types of conversations are happening around you, you should be scared. The future of Russia, Putin in Russia. Take the deal, right? This is what I keep saying, right? Take the deal, Putin. Mr. Putin, you're at the end of the road. They haven't forgotten phase 4, sir. They're not going to deviate from the math, no matter who the president is. There's too much support in the pan-Arab world, Israel, and Europe. Everybody knows the phases, sir. We're having an open conversation. It used to not be an open conversation, but now the cat's out of the bag. Everyone knows the phases. You know the phases. We know. We're having an open conversation here. So you better freaking take the deal or you're dead. They will just kill him. It's the end of the road for him. The House of Opposition is probably hardliners. There's some economic constraints. You know, who's going to pay for the rebuild? I don't think anybody should get the contract for the rebuilding of the Donbass that doesn't believe in or support the Abraham Accords. Hopes and fears, taking the weapons of war away. And the final outcome for Putin is he will be mauled and lulled into thinking that he's doing this deal, but in the end, I don't think it's going to protect him. I don't think so. He's an impediment. Anybody that is an impediment to the Abraham Accords, it will just be taken out. There's too much money riding on this. There's too many people supporting the new trade route. They will contain him. They will contain him. There, yeah. Military action right over him. Michael, Sword of Truth, hopes and fears. There's Zelensky. And then the final outcome is the Hierophant, the higher ethos. Yeah, Putin's days are, Putin's reign is coming to an end. He'll probably take a deal in exchange for a part of the Abraham Accords, but only after it's been stabilized. I went to Grok again. I know you guys don't like Grok, but military strategists use Grok and it is associated with the Colossus computer, so you get a lot of information from Grok. But Grok had said this is the Oasis protocol, and we were trying to figure out how did Zelensky get a hold of the Oasis protocol, and it was probably through the American State Department. But what's interesting also is that maybe Witkoff, I don't know. Elon, maybe? I don't know. But what's interesting about it is that it's a very good idea that I hadn't thought of. That is really a good idea because it's a deal that he would want to take if he wants. Well, come on, be practical. Don't you think he's pragmatic? The old Iran is finished. And the new AA will include the new Iran. So it means that if he wants to be part of the trade route with the new Iran, he's going to have to take that deal. It's very clever, whoever thought of this. Bring him into by establishing an oasis there. I don't know who, but damn, that was a smart idea. China has stopped flying their military jets over Taiwan for almost a week now. Has China changed their stance? Let's take a look at China. Probably. I don't want to see the collapse of China. I mean, we benefit a lot from, there's mutual benefit from us having a relationship economically with China. We don't have to be at war with China. We don't have to keep attacking China just because they think it's not necessary. All right, 4 of Cups, stubbornness on the part of China, and the 10 of Swords, feelings of being betrayed, hopes and fears, death, and the final outcome is wealth. No, we're going to make a deal with China that it's going to be mutually beneficial. New contracts with China. Wealth, the treasure trove that ever overflows, right, is Gaia. Gaia is the treasure trove that ever overflows. Smooth waters. We have a new contract with China. They're getting rid of people. Also, because there's a 10 of Swords in the 8th house, that tells me that China is going to remove anybody that is an obstacle to peace with the United States and improving trade relations. Oh, these cards are really optimistic today, aren't they? But not for Putin. Putin got the tower as his outcome. We're not good for Putin. But for us, it's pretty damn good. All right. Will Trump be forced to use troops in Iran to oust the Islamic? Probably not. It'll probably be peacekeepers while they establish the constitutional monarchy. Let's take a look. Boots on the ground in Iran. Boots on the ground in Iran. And the answer is complete confusion. 7 of Cups. Trump doesn't know what the hell's going on. Oops. Patience, 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 my loves. Hopes and fears. Power struggles. Final outcome is peace treaty, 6 of Cups. We know that the people of Iran want this because in the elections, the person who won the presidency was the liberal, right? So there were 47 people that had been selected to run for president, right? Something like 47, is that correct? And they whittled it down to the top 2 or 3, right? But of all the 47, the most liberal guy is the one the people voted for. So that tells us everybody who gets, the mullahs decide who gets to run. They're all under Khamenei, right? But Khamenei had 47 people from hardliners to the most liberal, all controlled by him. It was all going to be under him, but I'll have a token liberal there, not knowing what was going to happen. Well, the token liberal won. So that tells us that this is what the people want. The people want democracy, and they are not, the difference between other quagmires, like Afghanistan, for example, is that the Taliban had a lot of support in many parts of Afghanistan, but that is not what we're seeing in Iran. In Iran, the fastest growing religion is Christianity, right? So you have underground churches all over the way, devout Catholics, right? So you don't have that problem in Iran that you had in, say, remote villages with the Taliban taking over, where they had a lot more control funded by Iranian oil, right? Instead, you have a much more cosmopolitan population where a large percentage are not Muslim. We're Christians. These lunatics don't represent our country. We're devout Catholic, right? Or we're Coptic or Zoroastrian, right? So Six of Cups is a peace treaty. It's returning back to the old ways. It's soulmates. It's childhood love and innocence. So probably the end result is that the people of Iran get what they want, and what the people want is a constitutional monarchy. This is what the people want. This is what the majority want. And so for that reason, it's much easier to stabilize than what happened with the Taliban. Also, it's a flatter area. If you're talking about Tehran going all the way to the south until you get to the mountains that separate with Afghanistan and Pakistan, because I've scanned the grid, I've been there, and I'm seeing a lot less areas to hide, different range than what we see in the mountains of Afghanistan, parts of Pakistan. And so for that reason, it's much easier to monitor terrorism with new drone technology than in places like Afghanistan. A new beginning. The star also is the U.S. flag. I use the star. So I would say we're looking at allies. Iran and the United States are allies. So another way of viewing it is that even though we are at war, the Iranian people and the United States are allies. Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting cards today. I did not expect this. I didn't expect this type of optimism. I'm kind of a pessimist. Trump versus the U.S. is on court docs. Everything is going his way. This is what he wants. Oh, dear God. Yes, I can't even think about it, but I do. The horrible has already happened, right? So the horrible has already happened, and now we're just waiting for justice. Oh, you're in Saudi Arabia? Good for you. I hope to visit someday. I hear that the food is out of control. Is that true? That U.S. service people, they just come back and they go, food is incredible. So I'm like, really? I went to United Arab Emirates, and the only thing I ate was I went to McDonald's because everybody says the best McDonald's in the world is at the Dubai Mall. This is what they say. So, and I didn't want to have some big feast, and I was just like, I'm gonna try a Big Mac and see if it's true. I'm only here for 17 hours. So it was the most delicious freaking burger I'd ever eaten in my entire life. It's all organic. They don't have factory farms. It's like real food. And it's just like, this is the most delicious burger. It was and I wasn't even hungry. It was so delicious. You got to go to Dubai, honey. It's what McDonald's is supposed to be. If you're going to be eating that kind of food, do it in Dubai. I don't eat this food, but I was just curious. It was so delicious. I sat there thinking, should I go buy another one? I seriously thought, like, I want to get back in line and get another one of these Big Macs. Like, in my entire life, I've never eaten 2 Big Macs. Food is out of control. Good to have you here, Gord. They just know how to cook. All over the Middle East, the food is absolutely incredible. Tel Aviv, amazing food. Palestinian hummus. Yeah, it's good stuff. Oh my God, that sounds so good. Y'all are eating some delicious food. Let's do a couple of more blitzes, and then we'll call it a day. Be sure and share and like if you guys can. I'm so happy these cards are optimistic. It just brings me so much joy to deliver a positive reading. I was worried we were going to have, no, they're finished. The main part is finished in the next 2 weeks. They've already taken out most of leadership, and they'll do a couple more bunker bombs and take out the rest. He should have left. He should have gotten the hell out of there. I mean, like if everybody knew the 5 phases, why the hell would you stick around, man? What do you think, that God was going to protect him? Oh, my kid was literally a solitary witch by age 10 and was a healer and shaman by 18. They are intersex and on the spectrum, has an amazing mind and ability. Well, let me tell you something about intersex. Third gender was referred loosely in Hebrew to eunuch, the Hebrew word eunuch. I don't remember. Let me find out what the Hebrew word eunuch is. Hebrew word for eunuch. So you had the eunuch houses, and the eunuch houses was where either people it's Sari, which is also princess. Sarah is princess, Sarah. But if you're third gender, it's like it has a Sari, which would be so it's a combination of male and female, Sali. So it's the third gender. Very, very interesting. Salis. Very beautiful. Castrated males, but not always castrated. Research shows that it was also members of the LGBTQ that just felt comfortable in the house of the eunuch. So eunuchs were sometimes castrated. Sometimes it was by choice because they didn't have like 21st century surgeries where if you were a transgender female, you could go and have things taken care of. Instead, they just had castration. So that broad word was salis, which is a combination of the first part of the Hebrew is female and the second is male. So it was a reference to the house of the third gender. What research shows is that third gender persons have higher IQs, about 10 to 20 IQ points higher than the general population. So they were always worshipped. They were always seen as mystical and divine. They were always considered the shamans. The homophobia and the ignorance of the Torah in 21st century writing, homophobia that came out with the church during the Middle Ages caused distortions in translations. There wasn't really a prohibition against the LGBTQ. There was a prohibition about worshiping foreign gods, engaging in sex magic that involved foreign gods. So that was actually what they were worried about. They weren't worried about eunuchs or the house of the eunuchs. They just wanted the house of the eunuchs to be, pro Adonai, as opposed to Baal or some other competing deity, right? So because they were the shamans. So that's the reference. Because if you look at Papua New Guinea, if you look at Thai culture, this of third gender, most shamans fell in the category of third gender, had the higher IQ, and were the houses of worship, the sacred ecstatic dance, right? So yeah, it's cool. It's cool to have those conversations, and it's always an honor and a privilege to talk to people that are third gender LGBTQ that are involved in activism, people like Tani, and who has her IQ is probably higher than mine, and she's an engineer, right? So the other idea is that but not just highly spiritual people, but they usually will have much higher IQs than the general public. Yeah. I don't know why. I don't know. I've been asked that, like, why are their IQs higher? Maybe because they're balanced. Yin and yang is more balanced than third gender. I don't know. I would be interested in any other researchers have an answer for why their IQs are higher. Yes, he's alive, but seriously injured. Did we figure out who was eating the spaghetti? Damn, that Parmesan smells good. Yeah, I could smell someone's pasta. It smells delicious. Okay, we'll do one more. Ukraine is taking more and more territory back in the last few weeks. Awesome. Who will replace the regime of Iran? It'll be a constitutional monarchy. Oh, is Tani here? Oh, no, she isn't. I was hoping Tony was here. Okay, one more. Saudi Arabia is using a pipeline that bypassed the Strait of Hormuz by going to the sea. Yes, it is. Mm-hmm. But we've got enough oil in storage for the next 7 years to prep for this if that were to happen. We're ready. Like I said, we prepped this years ago. There'll be some disturbances. Oil might go up for a couple of months, but in the end, it will be better for everybody, and we won't have to keep bombing the crap out of Yemen and killing kids in Yemen with drones and everything else. Also, once we build Oasis, we'll be able to help the women of Afghanistan escape to safe havens, and that's really important. I can't see who was eating who is the person sending me vibes about pasta? That's all well, now I want to go get some pasta primavera with some Parmesan, man. That's what I'm craving. All right. Well, Cuba be invaded with regime change. Well, we're crippling Iranian and Russian money. So let's see. Yeah, it looks like it's an economic collapse leads to the fall of Cuba. Mm-hmm. I feel so bad for the people stuck in that situation during an embargo. Absolutely terrible. Well. And so the time has come. And so we face the final curtains. Da, 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 da. Did we figure out who was making the spaghetti or the pasta? You've never eaten a Big Mac? Well, if you do it in Dubai. Yeah, he's on life support in an ICU, probably 60 meters underground. Oh, it's you? Oh my God. You got any left over? I was smelling it. Damn. Did you get that from a restaurant? That looked really good. Was that from a restaurant? I was smelling it and it was like that. It was driving me crazy. It must have been damn delicious because I couldn't focus. I was like, okay, who's having the pasta primavera with the Alfredo, or the pasta with the Alfredo sauce? Because I could smell the Alfredo and I could smell the Parmesan. Well, it's still in your house because I can smell it. I must have been really connecting with you today. Usually, if I can smell the food in your house, you're usually the person I'm mainly focusing on. Oh, you made it from scratch? Did you use a lot of Parmesan? Because I'm smelling Parmesan. Do you have extra in the house? Damn, girl, that smelled good. I'm human. It's lunchtime. I start doing psychic readings and then I start merging and connecting with people. And then I wind up energetically in their home and then I start smelling whatever they're cooking. And I wasn't smelling what Joel was cooking. I was smelling her pasta primavera. Oh my God. Now I'm hungry. You inspire me. All right, you guys are all right, you're absolutely amazing. Today was an absolute pleasure. I really, it brought me joy to give you such optimistic news. Damn, we're headed towards something really amazing. Let Oshun ride that fire horse the next 8 months. Good things are coming. Good things are coming, I promise. Oh, you freshly... That's what it was. I found out who it was. That Parmesan was driving me freaking mad. With the creams, I could smell your dinner. It was just, damn, it was driving me crazy. Okay, well, we found the culprit. All right. If you're trying to get in for a reading with me, I'm seeing clients usually, what are my hours? Monday through Friday. I do a half day on Fridays. You need a medical consult, a medical intuitive with treatment plan. I also do your herbal remedies for you. As you saw, I have quite a few. If you're trying to get in for a reading with me, you can find all the information below this video. Oh, there were several people making pasta. It was driving me insane. Well, whoever was doing the primavera with the Parmesan, that was what was, it was the smell of the Parmesan in the sauce that was driving me nuts. Whoever that is, I think it was Imhurst. It's making me crazy. All right, we're out of here. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. We'll see you next time, everyone. You're amazing. Thank you, guys. Love you all very much.